I can explain. So, the Alola region gave us a lot of great Pokemon, and it was the first generation where Game Freak really went all in with the whole make Pokemon that fit the region thing. You know? Like, Gen 5 and 6, they started getting more and more into the idea, but then Gen 7 comes along and BAM! Tropical Pokemon! Oceania! But with a focus on Hawaii. And when looking into Hawaiian mythology, no creature sounds quite as cool and Pokemonable as the Hawaiian dragons, the Mo'o. In fact, Game Freak loved Mo'o so much that they based 3 Pokemon lines on it. Yeah, lines. Some more than others, clearly, but these Hawaiian dragons being called Mo'o makes the Pokemon mainly based on it pretty obvious, right? Yeah, it's Jangmo'o, Hakamo'o, and Kommo'o. Like it's in the name, they are dragons and they're the pseudo-legendaries of the region even, so like, yeah. But I'm here to tell you today, no. Just no. That's it. Like, Kommo'o is a Mo'o in name only. Well, that and it's a dragon, but that's all they have in common. In fact, Mo'o have so little to do with this line that it's only the English names that reference Mo'o. In all of the other languages, their names are basically just clanging scale dragon or some variation of that, because that's what they are. They are Polynesian haka dancing warriors that are also reptiles. Dragon scales are also seen as big and magical and important and aggressive and charging up with spiritual energy, so those war dances are too, so it's an easy connection to make. I've got a feeling that the English localizers were looking into Hawaiian words, found out that Mo'o is dragon, and just sort of slapped it on them. Because they're the big dragon pseudo-legendaries, you know? Even though Mo'o is, more accurately, their word for lizard. Gecko, more specifically even. In fact, even these Hawaiian dragons that the Mo'o are, aren't really your typical dragons at all. So, let's talk about the Mo'o, and how the Kommo'os aren't really Mo'os, like, at all, while Salazzle and Alolan Exeggutor are. Jewels. Family jewels. How do you polish such coarse and fuzzy things? Why, with this, the new Lawnmower 3.0 waterproof body hair trimmer with advanced skin-safe technology, which reduces nicks and cuts. And see here, it's even got a light, so you can gaze into all of your dark places. Now, I know what you're thinking. But what about my nails? Well, you're in luck. Manscaped has a luxury nail kit as well. Never in my life have I used such fancy nail clippers, and I am a very fancy man. But what else could they possibly have? It's not like, oh, jumping Jehoshaphat! They've got ball deodorant! Plus a nose hair trimmer and a bonus gift of anti-chafing boxer briefs and carrying case. For a limited time, you can get this whole performance package at manscaped.com with my 20% off coupon Lockstin20, and of course, international shipping is free. I just feel like such a new man. So, the Mo'o. They aren't hulking, winged, fire-breathing dinosaurs, nor are they wise, antlered, serpentine weather demons. No, they're just lizards. Geckos, even. That just happen to have magic powers. But you know how the West is. Ah, local beliefs. Mo'o? Lizards with magic powers, you say? Sounds like a dragon to me. Must be your word for dragon, yes? Yes, of course I'm right. I have a degree, you know. But yes, both modern Western and Eastern influences have sort of changed the perception of Mo'o, and Pokemon is a part of that now. These are some of the more modern depictions of Mo'o. And they are nothing like the historic ones, which were more like these. Those are just like lizards. So what gives? What are their magic powers? And how come Kommo'o isn't one? Let's have some fun. Firstly, one of the main things about Mo'o is that they are shapeshifters, and one of the 2 things they would mostly turn into are trees. Palm trees, especially. Ever wonder why Alolan Exeggutor is dragon type? It's not just because of the Dracanius, aka dragon trees, but also because of this whole thing. Trees in Hawaii that are literally dragons, or, you know, lizards with magic powers. But there are, of course, numerous other details about the Mo'o, what they are, and what they more often transform into. Mo'o are themselves less lizards and more spirits, gods even, that happen to spend most of their time as lizards. Geckos, a bit more specifically, depending on who you ask. They can appear as small as these tiny little gecko-y dudes are, or they can be like 40 feet, but still a lizard. They are shapeshifters, come on. But they were limited in their shapeshifting ability. They couldn't so easily take on the form of a human. At least not a complete human. These are about as human as they could get, and even more notable is that, yes, they would just about always take the form of a woman, because a fun fact is that nearly every Mo'o is female. And also, these women they change into are covered in black scales. And why would they transform into women? Why, to seduce men to come closer so that they could eat them, of course. What else? Oh, it's Salazzle, isn't it? See? Yeah, the thumbnail. Explained. I'm not weird. But if I just left it as sexy black-scaled lizard woman, it's clearly Salazzle. Well, that would be lame, right? It's not like Salazzle is a sexy black-scaled lizard woman. So yeah, there's more. Most named Mo'o in Hawaiian folklore feature in stories where they have a lover or two, a husband even. And then one of them cheats or breaks a deal, and now they have to die, I guess, or get turned into a fish. And when the Mo'o don't already have a lover, they are busy stealing others. Even a chief in Maui by the name of Lohiao. Yes, even he was no match for the mystical seductiveness of a Mo'o. And that was even with the protection of the volcano goddess Pele, who also had feelings for him. Let's see. A hot goddess, both figuratively and literally, who will grant me and my people protection, or a thick lizard. Decisions. Mo'o like to live in small fish ponds. In fact, one way to tell if a Mo'o has been in your pond is to see if the water is extra frothy, or if the fish in it taste bitter. This happens because Mo'o are poisonous. And their phlegm, which is poisonous, gets mixed with all the water, making it all gross. It was the law for a while not to swim in fish ponds and streams when they are frothy and green, because that is when the Mo'o is present, and you do not want to disturb a Mo'o. When the water is clear, she is not there, so it's fine. You're not going to get poisoned. But when not out relaxing in fish ponds, they can be found sleeping in caves. Some tales talk of them in their womanly form, brushing their hair at the mouths of sea caves. In the case of Waiakapala'e Cave in particular, the Mo'o living there would seduce any man who sees her, and said man would go missing for months, many never to be seen again. Even the chief from Wainiha fell victim. But not before siring a baby. And speaking of multiple lovers again, the stories of seductive Mo'o do make it clear that they are irresistible. Even the few nice Mo'o that don't just eat men, but choose to live with them instead, still, by kidnapping them and then forcing them to stay, they still dominate over them, forbaying them from leaving the cave or the riverbed that they live in. Potentially turning them whipped through their magical seductiveness. The Mo'o, of course, then, were the dominant ones in the relationship, because, like, lizard overlords, what are you gonna do? But their dominance is notable as one particular Mo'o, Kiawahine, is the only female deity afforded the honor of having a carved image carried into war on the annual Makahiki procession. And by King Kamehameha even. A female holding the same honor as a male? Must be exceptionally powerful and dominant and masculine even, huh? Here's another bit. If you wanted to track down or summon a Mo'o, you would light a large fire on an altar, and a large Mo'o would appear, glistening through the flame. So all of these bullet points, these are all related to both Mo'o and Salazzle. Here are some relevant Pokédex entries. The males will do whatever the females tell them. They give the females most of their food. Due to malnutrition, the males can't evolve. For some reason, only females have been found. It creates a reverse harem of male Salandit that it lives with. Salazzle lives deep in the caves and forces the Salandit it has attracted with its pheromones to serve it. Plus, I mean, poison fire type and that hot black latex dominatrix aesthetic? What's Kommo'o got? Its name in a single language language? Lame. But what about the Whiptail lizard? That's the most common thing said to be the origin and inspiration for Salazzle, as it's an all-female lizard species that can reproduce asexually, hence the only female Salazzle. And to that I say, yeah, Pokemon can have multiple inspirations, but also the Whiptail isn't the only lizard able to do that. There are 3 known reptile families that can do it among some species. The Whiptail is just the most well-known because it is the most abundant and also lives on the US mainland. So, you know, knowledge through media osmosis. Now those other species that can do it, there's 1 snake and 6 geckos. Reminder, Mo'o isn't inherently dragon, it's lizard, and if you wanted to be more specific with it, it's specifically gecko. This is perfect also because those 6 species of gecko that do this are all found in Southeast Asia and the Pacific Islands, Polynesia, Oceania. So yeah, Alola. Salazzle is a Polynesian Pokemon just like the rest of the Gen 7 Mon. Why would it be based on a lizard that lives around Mexico and the US mainland? Why would a cat be a heel wrestler? I don't know, not all Pokemon have to make perfect sense, but at least we have a direct answer for Salazzle. I mean, heck, Komodo dragons, which also live in Southeast Asia, are able to reproduce this way also. It's not the most common, but they can. And that's sort of just another slap in the face to Kommo'o, who pulls many more inspirations from Komodo dragons with their size, coloration, fighting style, and aggressive attitude, and of course their name, Komodo, Kommo'o. The only thing that doesn't line up perfectly with Salazzle is that fire connection. I mean, yeah, light fires at altars to make a Mo'o appear, but otherwise Mo'o are water dragons. They live in fish ponds, streams, and sea caves. Poison water type would be much more fitting of a Pokemon that's literally a Mo'o, especially if they designed it to look a bit more amphibian-esque. However, to say that they would have to make it poison water or it's not a Mo'o is to say Game Freak isn't allowed creative liberty. I mean, an electric dog. Dogs don't do that. They aren't electric eels. Bad design. What's a shrew gotta do with fire? But why then? What led Game Freak to decide a Mo'o is fire type instead of water type now? Well, perhaps simply due to being more so salamanders. The salamanders and geckos aren't related, but they do have similar body types, and salamanders in mythology are very associated with fire, hence Charmander the salamander. Also, there's the Japanese fire-belly newt, which has similar colors to Salandit, and I mean, it's Hawaii after all, islands very associated with fire. I mean, they are wholly volcanic islands, still being created as we speak. It's mentioned that Salandit and Salazzle use poisonous gas, and there's also their signature ability, Corrosion, which lets them poison the otherwise immune to poison steel-type Pokemon. Volcanoes spew more than rock, fire, and lava. They also release a significant amount of carbon dioxide, sulfur dioxide, and hydrogen sulfide into the atmosphere, all of which are potentially deadly and causes fatalities whenever a volcano erupts. Close enough to humans, anyway. Sometimes even poisoning entire towns. And all that poison in the air sometimes gets grabbed by the moisture in the clouds and then rained back down onto the earth in the form of acid rain, which is extremely corrosive to metal. And that explains their whole ability. And thus their association with volcanoes, and thus the fire type. And well, thinking about it now, poisonous gases also do flow through the air similarly to pheromones, I suppose. Like those pheromones Salazzle uses to control all of the males around her, and you know, maybe Mo'o are extremely irresistible to human males because of pheromones also. I mean, who would want to... Don't answer that. Also, fire type could just work because of how hot Salazzle is. I mean, look at her design. She is salacious, steamy, hot and heavy, impassioned, inflamed. All words that mean horny. So there you have it. Salazzle is a fiery Mo'o. Kommo'o is a haka-dancing Komodo dragon, and Alolan Exeggutor is still the greatest Pokemon to bless our beautiful little eyes. Thanks so much for watching, and thanks again to Manscaped for sponsoring this video. Check them out with the link below, coupon code Lockstin20. Here's some pheromones to help convince you. Right, smell-o-vision isn't a thing yet. Gosh. Hey honey, I need you.